You know how when you push something, it tends to push back? Well, it turns out that's not just a feeling, it's a fundamental rule of the universe. From nature to our own lives, systems are always trying to find their balance. And today, we're going to dig into the chemical principle that explains exactly how this works.
Yeah, so what does happen when a perfect balance gets disturbed? It's a simple question, right? But the answer is like a law of the universe. Just picture a seesaw, totally level. Now, what if someone on one side suddenly gets heavier? The whole thing has to shift, right? It has to find a new sweet spot, a new balance. We all kind of get that intuitively. Well, it turns out chemistry has a name for this. A golden rule, if you will.
All right, to really get this rule, we've got to talk about chemical reactions. Now, most of us probably think of them as a one-way street, A plus B makes C, and that's it, show's over. But the reality is way cooler. A lot of these reactions are actually two-way streets, with traffic going in both directions at the same time.
And that brings us to this big idea called chemical equilibrium. The key words to remember here are dynamic balance. Dynamic means it's not static. Things haven't just stopped. It's a balance because the speed of the forward reaction, reactants turning into products, is exactly the same as the speed of the reverse reaction, products turning back into reactants. It's like this perfectly choreographed, endless dance of molecules.
So, okay, what happens when we crash the party and interrupt this perfect dance? Well, that's where our main principle comes into play. It's the rule that explains how these systems, how they push back.
This is Chatellier's principle, and honestly, you can just think of it like this. Whatever you do to a system that's in balance, it's going to do the opposite to try and undo it. You push it, it pushes back. Simple as that. It's nature's way of saying, hey, I was comfortable here. The whole point is that the system actively fights to relieve whatever stress you just put on it. So let's see what that actually looks like.
Okay, first up, the easiest, most straightforward way to mess with a system's balance is just to change how much stuff is in it. We call that its concentration. So let's say we have our balanced reaction. What happens if we just dump a bunch more reactants on one side?
Let's go back to that seesaw. We've basically just thrown a bunch of extra weight on one side, the reactant side. The balance is totally off. Now, according to Chatellier's principle, the system isn't just going to sit there all lopsided. No way. It has to do something.
So to get rid of that stress, the system basically says, whoa, way too much stuff over here on the left. And what does it do? It hits the accelerator on the forward reaction. It starts burning through those extra reactants and turning them into products on the right side. The whole balance literally shifts to the right, until boom, a new equilibrium is found.
So the big takeaway for concentration is super simple. The system will always shift away from whatever you added. And, you guessed it, if you took something away, the opposite would happen. The system would shift toward that side to try and make more of what you just removed. Pretty straightforward, right?
All right, next stressor, let's turn up the heat. Literally, temperature might not seem like a physical ingredient you can hold, but in chemistry, you can totally think of heat as either a reactant you put in or a product that comes out.
Yeah, so when it comes to heat, reactions basically have two flavors. You've got your exothermic reactions, which release heat. Think of a campfire. Heat is a product. Then you have endothermic reactions, which absorb heat to even happen in the first place. That's like one of those instant cold packs you crack. For those, heat is a reactant. And believe me, knowing which is absolutely crucial. Okay, so let's take an exothermic reaction, one that's already giving off heat as a product. What happens if we stress it out by adding even more heat, by cranking up the temperature? Well, Chatellier's principle kicks in. The system sees all that extra heat as just another product, and it's got to get rid of it. So it shifts away from the products back toward the reactants in an effort to basically cool itself down.
So you see the pattern? The system always fights the temperature change. You add heat, it shifts in the direction that absorbs heat. You take heat away, it shifts in the direction that produces more heat. It's almost like nature has its own perfect, built-in thermostat.
And for our final stressor, let's talk about pressure. Now this one is really all about reactions that involve gases. Why? Because you can't really compress a liquid or a solid, but you can definitely squeeze gases into a smaller and smaller space. So imagine you've got these gas molecules just floating around, plenty of room to move. That's low pressure. But then we start to squeeze the container, cranking up the pressure. We're forcing all those same molecules into a much tinier space. The stress here is literally the system feeling cramped and crowded.
So how does the system fight back against being squished? It does something that is frankly brilliant. It reorganizes itself. The reaction will actually shift to whichever side has fewer gas molecules. Think about it. By making fewer particles, the system literally takes up less room. It's making itself smaller to relieve the pressure. So clever.
So the rule for pressure is basically a counting game. You just look at the reaction and count the number of gas molecules on the left and on the right. If you crank up the pressure, the reaction is always going to favor the side with fewer molecules, the side that takes up less space.
Okay, so we've got our rules for concentration, temperature, and pressure. Cool. But, so what? Why does any of this matter outside of a chemistry classroom? Well, get this. It turns out that understanding this one principle is a huge reason why billions of people on this planet are even alive right now.
I want to introduce you to something called the Haber-Bosch process. It's this industrial process figured out over 100 years ago with one main goal: to grab nitrogen right out of the air we breathe and turn it into ammonia. And why ammonia? Because that's the key ingredient for all modern fertilizer.
And the impact of this is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around. 50%. Estimates are that half of the entire world's population is fed by crops that are grown using fertilizer from this single process. You could make a very strong case that this is the single most important industrial chemical reaction ever.
And the whole thing is just a masterclass in using Lee Chatelier's principle to get what you want. Chemists use crazy high pressures, which, as we know, pushes the reaction to the side with fewer gas molecules, which happens to be the ammonia side. Perfect. They use a very specific temperature that's a perfect balance between making the reaction fast, but still favoring the products. And here's the really genius part. As soon as the ammonia is made, they pull it out of the system. By constantly removing the product, they're constantly stressing the system, forcing it to shift right to make more and more and more ammonia. It's brilliant.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? From a tiny chemical reaction all the way up to the global food supply, we see the same fundamental principle at work. Systems push back against stress to find balance. So the final thought I want to leave you with isn't just about chemistry. If all these systems, from molecules to entire ecosystems, are hardwired to fight for stability, what can we learn from that principle in our own lives?